Hello, welcome back to another Daytona State Overwatch stream. We're so happy to be
Yeah,
here.
it's wonderful to be back. Week 3, 2-0 so far, looking to make it 3-0. Currently, we're going to be playing against Tallahassee Community College, so really looking forward to see how this goes.
Definitely, and we have some players on different roles this season, which is pretty cool. We have Nostalgia on tank, whereas last season he was on support, pretty much Lucio, one trick. But now we have him on tank, so that's going to be cool. And also the big elephant in the room is that we're playing now this ranked season with perks. And I think the perks being active. How did you feel when you first heard about
I
them?
was super excited. It's been way too long since Overwatch had a real switch up in the game loop, and I feel like perks are a good step in the right direction. You know, being able to make your own build is really what this game should become in the long run, but I feel like there's still some work to be done. Like, it's added a bit of creativity with each player and how they play their character, but there's definitely more. Like, the new stadium game mode that they're going to be adding, I think, is what Overwatch really, really needed, and we're going to be able to see that soon once that's available to play.
Yeah. I definitely think I agree with you with like the creativity thing. I definitely think it adds like because it's not the same perk every time, which I was a little bit under the impression that it would be like you kind of like almost level up the character, like you hit unlock certain levels. But I do like that you can choose between perks because I feel like it really caters to each player's like play style, and it can kind of help like strategize with the team and everything too. And honestly, when I first read about it, I was like kind of mad because I was like, oh, this sounds terrible. Like they're changing Overwatch. This isn't even the same game. This is going to be so different. And I didn't know it was going live like right into ranked. And I watched at the Blizzard, I think it was like the Blizzard like what is that kind of like facility that they have? You know where all the pro players were playing? Did you watch that?
Is it the you're talking about when they were announcing everything?
Yeah, like right before it was live. I
Oh,
think I was.
where the streamers were and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the streamer event they had to show off the new characters that's coming in
Yeah.
season 16 and Stadium. Actually, I don't think they showed off Stadium, but they showed off the perks and everything and the new character. So yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
I was watching, and I think maybe watching them kind of made me feel like a little better, but I also feel like sometimes when streamers test something at a facility, they have to like kind of gas it up, because you can't
Yeah.
be welcomed to someone's facility to try all this new thing and be like, this is terrible. But the first time I played it, it was definitely like a little bit of a learning curve to like remember to use the perk or like to choose one. And then like mid game, I felt like I'm like reading through the text as quickly as possible. But now that I've been playing it for a little while, I think it's a really great addition to Overwatch. I feel like it is just what the game needed, like a little something.
Yeah, like I said, I think the change in the game loop is really important because there's just become sort of a stale, like, everyone wants to just play meta heroes, meta comp, meta everything. And with the perks, there are meta perks at the moment. But as
Mhm.
Overwatch begins to expand upon this idea, I think they're going to find that a lot of people are going to gravitate towards what plays into their playstyle rather than what's meta. So, if
Yeah.
eventually, let's say in a year from now, everyone has twice as many perks to choose from, then we're starting to get into the, side where you could have multiple perks that are, just as balanced, just as good in different ways. And then you'll see characters that maybe were a lot more simple in the way they were played. Now there's other play styles. And even now we're starting to see more and more ways these heroes can be played just with the simple 2 perks. So I'm hoping to see some more innovation from our team here.
Yeah. I definitely think that it does cater to the playstyle, and there's definitely meta perks because some perks on some of the hero or players or characters or whatever, I've never once thought to even use because I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, that's awful. But I feel like it can work well in a team. I kind of wonder if like during scrim in pro play, like players discuss what perk is best for their team and I haven't been watching as much competitive at a higher level, and it just makes me wonder like how perks will eventually be like integrated into that kind of setting. And the only downside, I don't even know if it's a downside, but I feel like it makes Overwatch an even harder game to learn for new people. It's kind of intimidating because you have all these maps, all these heroes, all their abilities, and now like the concept of perks when it's already like a new player who's never played Overwatch will load into a game and like they just want to know what to do, and it's like it's loud, it's bright, flashing, but you know, every game has a learning curve. So I think if someone was really into it, they could eventually learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Overwatch has plenty of heroes to choose from for any player that's coming from any sort of game. And I think we are almost ready to start our match here on Ilios. Really looking forward to seeing Nostalgia on the tank, as previously mentioned. And also looking forward to seeing Hyra on possibly the Lucio. I know Nostalgia, which is our last semester's Lucio main player. He's been coaching Hyra in the background, so we're hoping to see maybe some special plays from here. Looks like Tallahassee is ready, so we will be going into our game here.
Yes, I'm definitely excited to see them play it. I know currently right now Daytona State is 2-0, so they've been doing good, doing good.
One forfeit, one true win, but it was a good win. I
Yeah.
wasn't there to cast for it, but it was a very good win.
Absolutely. And I know Nostalgia had a pretty, it was kind of a funny upbringing to this tank role because, he has tried and true to support, but within 2 months, I hear that he was able to not only jump on tank and learn tank, but to pretty quickly be like sufficient, and like pretty good, and be hitting the leaderboard. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's such a talented player, like I was explaining to our esports manager here. In Overwatch especially, in a game that's so heavily influenced by your map knowledge, your character knowledge, your game sense, the way you play the game on every character in a way is similar. You just have to know how to adapt your playstyle. So I'm not really surprised to hear, such a good player has had success on arguably an easier role.
absolutely. And it looks like we're starting off here with Nostalgia going to pick Malga.
Some quite different comps, which
Yeah,
is
definitely.
rare to see. A lot of times when we're casting these collegiate matches, they're running, meta mirror comps. But I think with the perks, that has completely shaken up what players like to play. Now here we are in a close quarters match. It seems like Daytona State has more map control right now with the point secured.
Definitely, and it looks like they are already on the point, like you said, already locking down that point, and they did get a really good job. They did a really good job kind of asserting their position there, getting
Admiral
right
getting
on.
picked off by the hit scan though. Now even. Nostalgia's doing an amazing job using this cover to his advantage. Despite them running Orisa, he is landing so many shots. Now he
Absolutely,
is
but
caught
he's a
out
little
here,
caught out
unfortunately.
here, yes,
A
maybe
bit of a
little
misrun.
bit of a misrun there.
You see those barrels right there, that actually completely killed him, unfortunately. So looks like Tallahassee is
Absolutely.
going to move to point here.
And it looks like we just have a little bit of a duel going on in the sidelines trying to clean
Big
up.
pick on the Bastion though. He was caught out a little bit behind his team.
Absolutely. We see Kuna kind of trying to move in here. And with
Huge rockets. Huge
oh
ult as
my
well
goodness.
from Admiral, absolutely
Ult, yes.
clearing the point.
Definitely. Admiral's going to go ahead and clear the point, and Daytona State's going to lock that back in, and they are back at 30% now. It looks like Tallahassee is kind of just regrouping, waiting to come back out.
And I do believe Admiral was using that barrage perk. I saw he just hit level 2, so yes.
Definitely.
Actually, he might be using his shield. It looked like he might have had shield. Yeah, his health has shield. So the barrage perk is not being used.
Farah's just one of those characters that with the perks unlocked, she has been very good. It looks like Tallahassee's going to go ahead and try to take the high ground here, take a different route because inside did not work. Moira has went ahead and popped that coalescence. She's moving
Nice
right
boot
onto
from the
point.
Lucio, I believe. Hero on top. Orisa getting caught out. I don't think those Moira kills are going to be
Kuna
enough.
with a 2K there and using Pulse Bomb is going to clean up Tallahassee again. We see Farah kind of on top cleaning up, and
Yes, Kuna is doing absolutely amazing on Tracer. I know his tracking on Widow is, you know, also amazing. So not surprised to see him on that.
But we do see Dawn. Oh, just TPs right out of that javelin there. Little last minute TP to get out.
Last 10%, I'm not sure who's going to be able to touch.
I believe
Possibly
that
the soldier.
Daytona State might use that cage fight though,
Moira
to
getting
kinda trap
kicked off.
them.
No, I don't think there's any way they live through this. Yeah,
Absolutely.
beautiful cage.
And it looks like Daytona State did kind of clear that up quickly. They had really good positioning that fight and really good, like you said, map control.
Momentum too. Admiral with the barrage there, using it. I mean, if I could get a replay, he must have used that as soon as he got it, which is, you know, optimal if you can just blow up the point and instantly win.
Absolutely, and it looks like Tallahassee is going to make some swaps here. They are now running Roadhog.
Classic Roadhog on the Ilios well, it looks like.
Absolutely, and they're going to stick with the Bastion Moira as well.
I think on this close quarter sort of middle area, Bastion might have some more success. It seemed like he was really struggling in those corridors against this Mauga, so let's see how this goes. And the sim swap for the TP is pretty clean. Mauga already on point.
Definitely going to get Daytona State that map control, which is what was a big aspect of them winning last fight.
Yeah, much faster comp on the side of Daytona State. Olympus
like
looking for a hook,
looking
possibly
for
on
a
that
hook.
Tracer. He knows that Kuna has been a big problem for his team, so keeping an eye on the backline is not a bad idea.
Definitely. They might be trying to go an alternate route here, go through this little side door, just trying to get in wherever they can. Daytona State went ahead and secured that point, and Mauga is going to push up into this corridor, try to finish off, but a huge lamp from the back able to get them out, but it is just not enough.
Yeah, I think the corridor pressure from the Mauga is just simply too much. I mean, Nostalgia is not missing his shots, and with the Roadhog, the BAP, I mean, I think an Antsy would be good in a situation like this, you know, where you could reverse the fight maybe, but
Definitely.
it's really hard to win that one-on-one fight with him if you're not just, you know, dealing insane damage.
Definitely, and it looks
Little
like,
swap to the Echoes.
yeah, swap to Echo
Pretty good
and
idea.
Mercy, so maybe they can try to counter this Pharah. They are a little bit stuck in spawn here with Daytona State. Kind of, looks like there's someone from really every angle watching their spawn doors. We see
Whole team
Dawn
is set
here
up.
trying to get a sneaky little headshot. Do we get a little kill here?
I believe we do.
Oh,
yeah.
and Dawn gets a sneaky little kill and is still in the back line here with Hira too.
Oh,
in a
big
huge
barrage. The swap to Reinhardt, I don't think is going to
just
save
push
them
them
there.
back. And Dawn is, oh my gosh, we see. Well, Dawn just get finished off, but we see a little battle Kiriko going on.
I'm a little confused as to the tank swaps, I suppose. You know, I think the Roadhog for Ilias, well, wow, that was
Ooh,
almost
a
massive
huge
boot. Hira
yeah.
getting taken
but
out for it.
Hyper does take Hira out, so now it looks like Tallahassee
Possible
is
retouch
up.
here, yeah, for sure.
Maybe a little bit too pushed up. Daytona State getting a little too
I just think the
comfortable
Reinhardt
touching
is
the
going to
spawn.
be really
But
hard to
Kuna
play
able
into
to
this.
get a huge pulse bomb,
Wow.
and Admiral cleaning up. Looks like Daytona State's DPS just absolutely owning this fight.
DPS doing too much, I mean, wow.
And we see just one by one trying. It looks like they're kind of trickling in now, which is going to make it really challenging. And Daytona State
Can we get a damage check?
Daytona State has, it looks like, won this first fight here.
Amazing plays from Admiral and Kuna specifically. I mean, everyone was doing their role, but
Definitely.
Admiral
Daytona
was
State.
nasty. Once again, look, he gets the barrage in the highlight. He does not waste his time. Every
Yeah.
time, he's always ready to use his barrage before he even gets it. And I think that's a lot of times what separates, you know, higher players from newer players is he can use that ult charge to just continually get that value. I mean, he knows all he needs to get is one pick. And,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he's getting
definitely-
more than one every time.
Yeah, like you said, too, playing not only off having the ult, but off alt charge as well is what, like you said, makes a good player. Because when it comes to DPS, especially, you know, like Tracer or Pharah, people who are like constantly building alt, I feel like it's super important to just use it right away, because if you wait too long, you could have had another ult by then, you know?
Yeah, especially when you're doing such high damage like these two. I mean, how many pulses did we see on the Ilios map in the
I
the
feel
first
like,
round? I feel like we saw
like
three.
three.
We
Yeah, I
saw
think
three, and
three.
it was not 99 to 99. This is a 100 to 20% match, and this guy's farming pulse bombs like it's nothing. It really depends on the tank. I think maybe he could have done more if he was running Reinhardt initially, but I just think versus the Malga, he would have, they needed a little more coordination to separate them. I think in the quarters too, it was like the only real success they had was when Nostalgia would overextend, or someone would overextend and end up leaving themselves open, versus a lot of times when they would get the point and just hold it, it was like impossible to approach.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw Daytona State using that map control too. The Sim TP right out of spawn, the Malga run to just push up right away. And also, too, when they were able to cap the point, when they pushed farther up to kind of hold closer to spawn, we saw like one from every angle. So I feel like the coordination was, and the like positioning was what really won that map for them. And I feel like Koth is one of those game modes where it's like you're, well, I know every game mode you're either winning or losing, but Koth, it's really easy for it to go like heavily one way or heavily the other.
Yeah, I mean, every little choice matters, especially like the Sim TP, the
Yeah.
use of speed boost, controlling the point first. It's all, it all matters. And the way Nostalgia was playing, if you noticed on that first Ilios map, he was using the map completely to his advantage. And I think that was partly why he was having so much success in the quarters. He would land enough shots, light someone on fire, flank, and he would get the bash, and then he would go back to the other room and then start farming behind the Orisa. And it was just like
Yeah.
his awareness of how to control the team fight from that defensive position was really winning them that, and they only lost it because he was pushing up so much, seemed like. But here we are in Kings Row. I think we're gonna see probably a different strategy from Tallahassee, if I were to guess.
Yeah, we did see the Reinhardt come out. I'm not sure if that was kind of more of like a panic pick to try to get them out of spawn, or if Olympus is pretty familiar with Rhine. So usually there's always a Rhine somewhere or another on King's Row. So I love King's Row.
Yeah, we've always had an appreciation for Kings
Yes,
Row here, and
our
many
mutual
players would
appreciation.
agree. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Reinhardt here, but I think part of it is he was trying to mitigate the damage from Admiral and Kuna, because,
Yeah.
if we were to see the stats, I wouldn't be surprised to see their damage being extremely, extremely high, based on how much they were doing to the tank. It was like, when you're on Orisa and the damage is pressuring you so much that you have to like fortify before you even go into the fight, it's, there's not much you can do. So we need to see some different strategies in order to have success against what Daytona State's been doing for sure. They're
Yeah.
running that same Malga comp. I think maybe a May, an Ana, like I was saying, to,
Yeah.
force Daytona State to play differently, because so far it doesn't really seem like there was much resistance in the way of just, out damaging and, pushing back their opponents.
Yeah. And I definitely think too, sometimes it comes down to like the support pick, because they're like the like hidden hero of the team, you know? Like you said, Ana to Anti, they really have a huge impact of the flow of the fight. Or even like Kuriko, Cleanse, Bap, and more. Any character that has like one of those abilities that can really change the flow of the fight, sometimes that's what's needed to like really break up like a heavy hold. Because if you have like an experienced Ana and they can hit an Anti on one, two, three characters, and everyone can coordinate to that, then that's, I feel like, a really quick way to turn the game around.
Yeah, even just forcing out a cooldown, I feel like can impact the way the team fight is going. Because, like you saw in the spawn, it was like they were so split,
Yeah.
but they didn't even need to group for any reason. No one needed heals, no one was crit, no one was on fire, no one was anti, no one
Yeah.
was being pressured or surprised or flanked. It was just like, they had every angle locked down, and they didn't get any respect
Yeah.
back. So they just got spawn held essentially.
Yeah.
And it seems like the Kings Row match here is going to start, and we will be seeing Olympus running the Reinhardt most likely, and this time I think that Juno swap will be essential to his success. Now we will see Dawn switching to the Ana, so some overextending could lead to an anti, and there's not much they can do about that, but we're gonna see.
So Wilhelm, how
Yeah.
do you remain brave in combat?
I definitely,
cannot stop
I love and
shaking.
appreciate a Reinhardt pick.
Is might, my Martian friend.
It's always so fun to watch, I feel like.
It's going to be tough against the Pharah Malga, though.
Stand with me.
I really love seeing high-level Reinhardts, but the character is susceptible, for sure.
Definitely. We see Malga immediately pushing up to play this corner
I
here.
think pushing up to the high ground is a smart idea because he can continue to take ground without getting pressured. Now here he's getting pressured from the shield, he's taking some damage.
Definitely, but he does have
But
this
his team
corner to
is
play
pushing up
on.
high ground, and Admiral taking out the Ashe,
And
making
here
it a
we
lot
see
easier
an
for himself.
Admiral
Wow.
already picked off two, both of their DPS, and probably maybe going to finish up
Yeah,
this
amazing
Moira.
flanks, amazing directs.
Oh my
Just,
gosh,
you know, currently holding the lobby hostage, essentially.
definitely.
It's the problem with the Reinhardt, though. When you have such high-level damage players that are taking these angles, you need to be able to shut them down, like a Diva, something that can allow him to negate the damage players and not just pressure out. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Just like you said.
Yeah.
And we see a sleep right out of spawn, and Anti just going to further just kind of hold his team back from pushing. And I feel if I was a diva, I would probably go high ground here or, you know, dive in on one of these. Oh, we
Yeah.
see an early barrage again from Admiral, just literally kissing their spawn doors.
I think, yeah, they weren't expecting the spawn flank, but as we've seen from both Daytona State and some of the higher level competition that we've gone against, that these flanks on King's Row are absolutely nasty. And here, Kuna getting another flank kill from the high ground. Not only can you play this, you can go up here, you can see Kuna's trying to rocket jump to the sneaky high ground.
Yeah.
And the
Here we have
swaps to
Malga
Sigma.
kissing the spawn door as well, still just doing so much damage.
Another swap to the Soldier instead of the Soldier. Unfortunately, it's
Definitely.
just...
And we see a nanoed Kuna literally running up to their spawn, looking for someone or something to kill.
Going for
and
melee kills right now.
Going for melees, doing a little bit of trolling, and just going to clean up here in this corridor.
Yeah, this left side is something you see sometimes in these high-level games.
And we have Cage out as well. Just
Oh my goodness.
doing a silly goofy here in the spawn.
Yeah, I think there just isn't much to stop this Malga, you know. I think an
Yeah.
anti is essentially necessary right now, but I doubt we're going to see it.
It is definitely hard to be in a game like this where you're stuck in spawn, but I've not lost hope yet, you know. I think that they will be able to coordinate and start walking out.
The Sigma should be looking to shield off this Ana that's behind him, you see. That's the problem, is they're all focusing on the Malga, but
oh, push them back.
yeah, and the Hog swap's gonna be tough too. And this barrage is about to be nasty.
And we see here we have Visor coming out, but just kind of standing. And another barrage from Admiral that kills two. Nostal just gonna clean up the rest.
With a disgusting flank, I already know this is gonna work.
And we see Malga here just greeting them. He wants
Dapping
to
up
come
spawn
in.
doors
Yeah,
currently.
For real.
No swaps from either supports, seems like.
I think perhaps
Oh,
the
and
support comp
more
is-
flanks from Kuno on the left side, high ground. This is classic spot.
Definitely.
If you've never flanked on King's Row on this spot,
And here
take some notes.
doing some good damage here next to Kuna, kind of his pocket, even though he has a quite deep one. And a Cage out, so they absolutely
big
cannot
Cage.
come to touch.
Dang, Kuna getting another pick too. So I doubt we're going to see any swaps from Daytona State. I have a feeling this is probably what they're going to still run.
Definitely. Well, if it
And
works, it works.
yeah, I think they were doing good when they swapped. When they started pushing high ground, they had an idea, but the problem was after they lost that first fight, they really lost their momentum. Like when they swapped Diva, they should have kept that swap and then proceeded to push the damage off the high ground, because Kuna was there for over a minute probably towards the end. And if he was Diva, he could have at least caught out Juno and Soldier and proceeded to, push him off, or, take another angle, continue pushing that high ground that you're having success on. But as soon as they swapped out of the Diva back to Roadhog, they're losing momentum.
Yeah.
It was just hard to get anywhere without, negating the damage, and I just didn't see much of that, And I think, they're trying here with the Orisa, the Torbjorn, the Mercy pocket, but
I think it is a matter of support as well. From
certainly.
Tallahassee, and I think it's more of a comp thing, but we have Orisa here, which we saw Orisa first round that they were pretty comfortable on. Daytona State is just going to go right in.
Seems like
maybe something
maybe
a
if he was tapped out, that was weird.
Yeah, a little.
Kuna already getting taken out by the Orisa, but pressure is pressure. That's the thing. People are slow to huge pin, disgusting pin. Oh my god, just
I think that just
nostalgia,
wasn't the
just
fight.
farming. Oh my goodness.
Just backing everyone off point, and they only need that one tick.
Spinning with the hammer.
And that is
Fire
it for
strike.
game 2.
Yeah, beautiful game from DSC here. Beautiful game. I mean, the pressure that they've been able to put on from every angle has been remarkable. I mean, there's really not much they were able to mitigate.
And here's that pin that we just saw too. I feel that it was the round-winning pin.
Did he still have Fortify? He didn't use it. I don't know. I don't know. But that was a very entertaining game.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think it was interesting to see. Well, it's always interesting to see each player and kind of like learn about them more and more as the season goes on, and like as you see them play all the time, like Kuna in his little King's Row spot, like Kuna is always going to be on Sojourner Soldier in that little
it's just a little
spot.
check. When you saw them swap off Diva, it was like, especially when you're on like Roadhog, like you don't have any sort of high ground enabling characters. It's just such a valuable spot if they're stuck in spawn, or if they're, if you have your tank holding that front angle, you can just farm them from spawn, go around the other angle, farm them from the top of the building. Is disgusting, and Kuna's one of the best at exploiting that spot for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Always seeing him up there. What is he doing? But I do think, like counter swapping is super important. That is one part of the perks that I don't think I love, is it kind of discourages counter swapping, because, if you're level 2, 3, whatever on one hero and you swap and you're perkless, it's going to be hard to play like with nothing, So I do wonder if they will change that, similar to how they changed like alt status, because when you swap, you get some of that back. But that's the only thing I feel like I have disliked about perks thus far, is just like the discouragement for counter swapping. And Overwatch is counter swapping, it's maps, it's situational, because every map has its meta, but you could go against the top 5 Roadhog on a non-Roadhog map, and it's like you're gonna have to counter swap that.
Yeah, and I think the catch-up mechanic, in my opinion, has been pretty good, where a lot of times if your team has like 1 perk throughout or 2 perks throughout, especially if they have all 2 perks and you're like 5 minutes into a good game, if you make a proper counter swap, let's say, okay, they have Orisa, Soldier, Cassidy, let's say a like Lifeweave or a BAP or something, you go Winston, that's a good comp. You're going to be farming damage, you're going to be landing jumps, probably not getting blown up if you're jumping right. So like you swap to Winston, And if you win that first fight by counter swapping because you have that advantage, you'll probably get a perk. You're like a perk in. After those 5 kills, you get some good credit.
Yeah.
So,
I
in
think
my
it's-
opinion, I feel like it's decent right now, but I get what you mean where it's discouraging for sure. I just feel like a lot of times the counter swapping is much more impactful than just like having 2 perks, depending
Oh,
on the character
absolutely,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I just think it does discourage it slightly, only because, like, sometimes it's tempting, like a good perk. You want to stay for that, but if you need to counter swap, you need to counter swap.
And the nice thing is the perks don't go away, so you can always
Yeah.
swap back, and then you still have both of them. So, just depends on how you see it. Because a lot of times I'll be swapping to do something more desperate. Like I don't really counter swap based on okay, this guy's went this. I'm just gonna immediately go this. But if I have a desperation pick, I'll go in. I'm all inning on whatever. A lot of times it's dive, like I said, Winston or something. So I'm all inning. Whatever they counter swap me or I die and it sucks, then I'll swap back and I still have my 2 perks. So
Yeah, that aspect I do like because it does have that forgiveness factor. Like if you swap and you're like, ooh, this is not it, you can always go back to that character. But I do wish it would give like a little, like if you have both your perks and you swap, maybe like, I'm not super familiar with like the kind of like perk battery, like what are the requirements to get a perk?
it's just stats like kills and
Yeah, I know
limbs
it's like,
don't matter, but straight up like healing and damage, it's kind of like your old
yeah, I know it's like stat based, but I just don't know like the exact stats. So maybe like
same.
if you
yeah.
swap, you could be 50% to your first
Yeah.
perk, or something. Overwatch has its ways.
I think they should. Yeah, if everyone on your team has a perk, I think you should spawn halfway to the first perk,
Yeah.
and then everyone has 2 perks. You spawn with 1 perk.
Yeah,
I think that should be. I think that should be a thing. But so far, perks aren't too crazy. Like I've been playing for so long that I'm not really thinking about my perks except when I'm running a broken character like Sojourn or something, where I'm
Yeah.
like, consciously, I'm basically getting a new ability, running like the orb or whatever where it sticks.
Yeah. And I like that it's new content, but it doesn't feel. I was worried that it wouldn't feel like Overwatch anymore, but I think it does feel
No,
still like the same game.
For sure. I feel like it's given us almost more Overwatch where there's some abilities and some fantasies that have been brought back
Yeah.
that people have been wishing and fiending for, but
Yeah.
now it's finally back. And
It's the content y'all been begging for.
here we are going to be on Route 66, seeing DSC on a bit of a Zarya comp versus more of a poke comp from Tallahassee here, running the Sigma.
And we see Widow as well, probably going to look for an early pick here, which would be really good for Tallahassee.
Kuna with an early high ground as well with the Mercy Pot. Going to take out the Widow,
Taking out the
unfortunately.
Widow and Bastion right away, and
Oh, he's
just
looking for that
mowing
fade,
them
a bit of a
down.
misfade.
Oh my god.
Amazing tracking here from Kuna. Not looking to drop off of the high ground.
Definitely, and again, we see them with that map control. They are super pushed up. Nostalgia a little bit low charge, but still holding this high ground, but with forward ground. And with Kuna really
Wow.
holding the spawn, it's easy for Nostalgia to play forward even without
I was
charge.
going to say, it's not too easy to get charged when the entire enemy team is completely dead. And Kuna getting taken
Oh
out,
my god.
looking away for a second, getting a little cocky.
But a
Good bubble
light
on the Mercy
res
there.
from Dawn is going to bring him right back, and now it looks like we have Kuna plus Pocket. And they do have a Widowmaker, which is, I feel like, the best option to try to take this out on DPS, but
He should be looking for another headshot while that resurrection is still on cooldown. But unfortunately, Kuna is just too good, and another failed grapple is going to make it hard to get that angle on him.
absolutely.
We
now-
could see dive pressure as well. I mean, a swap to Genji.
Oh, definitely.
A little dash up there, reflect, you don't necessarily need
And
to
here we have this out
Wow.
early, the
Oh, that
visor
fade's
out
not going
early.
to save you, yeah. I think
Definitely something needs to happen to take him off this high ground, and Diva, Genji, like you said. Just anything to counter this, but
unfortunately,
and we see
I
Admiral.
think a lot of the players are trying to use their technical skill, but Kuna and Admiral are just
We are
too
gonna see a
clean
little
with their
sneaky
approach.
barrage here, it looks like.
I mean,
If they can even walk out.
I think a team-based approach would be best for them, running like a dive to get him off. But right now, it doesn't seem like we're gonna see
And
that.
a solo,
And
double barrage.
huge barrage and spawn. I mean, this is just a massacre in terms of this current first minute
And we see
we're
Dawn.
seeing.
Dawn floating on the edge there. And looks like Tallahassee, they
Oh,
went
nearly
ahead.
killing the Juno. Juno on 1 HP there, but getting saved by that Suzu. Now getting taken out again by Kuno with such a dirty high ground in the CAAE. Getting taken out by Admiral too. I mean,
And we see Battle Mercy here going to take out their Cassidy.
Nostalgia AFK with 90 charge.
AFK sitting on high charge and getting close to grab. I suspect a little graviton
Wow,
surge
that right
coming.
click too. This is just, it's like their bullets are magnetized to Tallahassee, unfortunately. Starting to farm that grab, 98, 99. I grab. Bubbling Kuna. Kuna's just sprinting around, okay.
But we do see a pick from
Samsey with a good
Tallahassee.
pick.
Oh, 2 picks from Tallahassee. This might be
Oh,
their
it looks like
chance
they
to
will
move
win this fight
forward.
100%. But
And we do see Kuna in the back. A grab has come out with nobody. It looks
big
like
pick on
Tallahassee
Hyper
is
too.
going
I
to
mean, this
is Tallahassee's chance because they have the spawn advantage as well, even though they
it's just
are
hard to
down.
get progress when Admiral has line of sight of you and getting another pick on the Kiriko. I mean, they cannot escape him. He will find them
He is
and
menacing.
eliminate them no matter what. And here he's going for the barrage again on this Bastion. It's over. Yeah,
Oh.
it's tough. And oh, Widow
Oh
getting the
my
pick,
gosh.
but I mean that's 5. Seems like
And
oh, it's
a
4.
res from Dawn as well.
Oh, there's
to
5.
Bring him back. Kira with the window locked and ready for this last 1 second.
Let them up.
Ooh, and that was just a devastating
Devastating
round.
hold. Yeah, beautiful job again by Daytona State, doing so much with no space. I mean, spawn doors are there, but it's like it's just an open window for them to shoot. It doesn't matter what angle they push out of; they're just getting beamed down.
Well, even with the spawn advantage too, Daytona State in turn had the ult advantage in positioning to hold them in spawn the whole time. Even when it was a 2v, it was coming back as 5, you know, for Tallahassee, but they were able to hold it down until the rest of the team got back because Admiral had his barrage.
His pressure is just too high, and once he got that Kiriko out of there and had that barrage, I mean, there was nothing they could do. And part of it is the awareness of where these players are at. Like Kuna and Dawn on that high ground, I mean, he was there for at least half the game. After he got headshot, he got resurrected. It was like straight 2 minutes of Kuna on the high ground just dominating. And I think regardless of the skill differential that could be there or whatever, you can use, you know, the tools you have, you know, switch a hero or make a team decision to push them off there. But it was just crazy to see Daytona State do that with simply no space. And here we're going to see Tallahassee attempt the same.
Yeah, starting off
But
making the
that
executive
Doomfist
choice
is going to be all the difference because there's just simply no way they'd be able to hold that close. And here they are already backing up. This is going to be very, very
and one punch
intense
might
fight.
be able to walk this car in.
Wow.
And Daytona State has won with the one Doom punch to walk the card in.
Noah limbs on the board, just straight aura pushing Tallahassee off the cart, unfortunately, for the 3rd map in a row. And here we can see Kuna just abusing this absolutely amazing angle here. Dawn with the damage boost. Unfortunately, Bastion was just not ready for that and didn't seem like they were doing too much to mitigate it. Like I said in the rounds before, the mitigation from the tank, I think, is part of it. And, you know, you could do that with support, and you can do that with damage too. But I think, you know, being able to shut down these carry players, especially like a pocketed DPS as well, it's really important to the team.
Yeah, definitely being able to make the executive decision to swap off comfort picks, even if it's someone you're unfamiliar with. If it needs to be done, you know, it needs to be done. like a dive, DPS or tank to
Yeah, even
physically
just
force
jumping
someone
there.
off.
Yeah,
Like
just
even
being there.
like Diva, Monkey, Doom, just being up in someone's face, like they aren't able to play like that, you know. So
He
it's
could have just jumped up there on Doom and landed only melee shots, and Kuna probably would have walked off. Like,
or even like Diva DM, you know, like
yeah,
fly up and Diva knockback
yeah,
is
for
enough
sure.
to. But
Yeah, amazing though from Daytona State. I mean,
definitely good
you know,
plays
up to
from
par of what I'd expect, but
yeah.
never gets old seeing them perform at such a high level, especially with all of the amazing plays and intricate stuff that was going on. Like, I didn't think we even got to talk about the intricacies of the perks because it just seemed like
Yeah.
their actual gameplay was just so high level that it
Yeah.
wasn't really a factor. Like,
And Overwatch is one of those games that it's already like challenging to keep up with, you know, because it's so fast, so fast. And then to add the perks too, I feel like it's like, oh, you know, like you can't really discuss them too much in game because especially when you're in a game like this, like the rounds are just so fast.
yeah, at the highest level for sure. And I feel like the perks almost have helped newer players feel like they've, been able to get like, a new reason to play. I mean, the old
Yeah.
players, they feel like, oh, this is something new, but at the end of the day, in terms of like team fight for team fight, it's not really as impactful for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's perks that are, abusable and, they can make a build around it, but like we saw, some people can just win a whole game based on how amazing at Overwatch they are
Yeah.
still. Like, the perks
The
are not,
technical ability, yeah.
it still reigns heavily
Perk or
supreme
no
for sure.
perk,
Which I hope it
technical.
stays that way. I don't think the perks should dictate entirely what someone's ability,
Yeah.
especially if they were locked behind any sort of wall. But I doubt we're gonna see that in the future.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening, but I do see what you're saying. With every game change, I feel like once something is live, there has to be minor tweaks here and there. So I see in the next season or two there being tweaks to perks, but so far I really like them. I like seeing them in action, and it was definitely wonderful to watch Daytona State, you know, and it's cool to see the versatility. I know I already said it, but nostalgia flexing to tank, like it just kind of goes to show if you understand Overwatch, like game sense can get you a really long way. And when you're support, I feel like you know, well, maybe it's a controversial take, but I feel like when you're support, you know the most about like how each player plays because you're watching it and you know what needs to happen and kind of like the ebb and flow. But
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I think each role has its own sort of quirks. Tank, I feel
Yeah.
like, has the best idea a lot of times on how to shut down different opponents. Supports a lot of times
Definitely.
understand how to enable certain heroes versus damage. They understand the sort of intricacies of the duels
Yeah.
where you're fighting a player and okay, this is how many resources he has left. This is what I'm going to drain. This is where I'm going to go. The angles and stuff on
Yeah.
damage is part of it. But yeah, I agree.
definitely. But this was a really fun game to watch. This keeps Overwatch, or not Overwatch, this keeps Daytona State going for the season. And
Perfect. 3-0.
3-0 so far, hoping that it could stay a good record and everything. But with everyone's skill and some new players on the team, I really think Daytona State has a good chance of going pretty far this season.
Oh, I would think they 100% will go far. I mean, last season we did amazing with our lineup, and I think with the further experience, the further team play, the further development, I think we're going to see our players go even further this season,
Absolutely, yeah.
100%.
But thank you so much for tuning in. It's
Thank
always
you.
a pleasure to be here and talk about Daytona State and video games.
Yeah, it was amazing. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, thank you so much for watching.
Have a wonderful night.
Have a good night. Thank you.